Picture this. It's the 1860s, deep in the jungles of Mexico. A local farmer, clearing land, stumbles upon something truly bizarre. Half buried in the earth is a face. A colossal stone face, staring blankly out from the undergrowth. This was the first of the Olmec heads to be rediscovered. A find that would shock the archaeological world and kickstart one of history's greatest mysteries. What they had found was just the tip of the iceberg, the first glimpse of a lost civilization and its silent, giant guardians. So what exactly are these Olmec heads? Well, there are 17 known heads, and each one is an absolute masterpiece of ancient engineering. Imagine carving a portrait not out of a small block of clay, but out of a single massive boulder of volcanic basalt. These things are enormous. The largest one stands over 10 feet tall and weighs a staggering 50 tons. To put that in perspective, 50 tons is the weight of about 7 or 8 large male African elephants. And they were carved with incredible detail, each with unique facial features, making them look like portraits of real, individual people. This wasn't just generic art. This was personal, but the sheer size and artistry are only part of the puzzle. The real head scratcher is where the stone came from. The basalt used to carve these heads was quarried from the Tuxtla Mountains. The problem? The mountains were over 100 kilometers or 60 miles away from the Olmec cities like San Lorenzo and La Venta, where the heads were found. And the journey between the quarry and the city was not a smooth paved highway. It was a treacherous landscape of dense jungle, swamps, and powerful rivers. Now here's the kicker. The Olmecs did this between 1200 and 400 BC. They had no wheels for transport. They had no draft animals like oxen or horses to pull heavy loads. How on earth did they move multi-ton boulders across miles of unforgiving terrain? The leading theory is that they used large balsa wood rafts to float the stones down rivers during the wet season. They might have also used log rollers and sheer manpower, dragging these monoliths inch by inch through the jungle. The amount of organization, resources, and collective will required to do this is just mind-boggling. It tells us that whoever these heads represented, they must have been incredibly important. This brings us to the Olmecs themselves. You might have heard of the Maya and the Aztecs, but the Olmecs came first. They are often called the mother culture of Mesoamerica because they laid the foundations for all the great civilizations that followed. They developed writing systems, complex calendars, and of course, their iconic art style. They even played the famous Mesoamerican ball game, a ritual sport that was literally a matter of life and death. The Olmecs were the pioneers, the innovators, the ones who set the stage for centuries of cultural development in the region. And these heads are their most famous legacy. So, the billion-dollar question remains, who are they? Who were these stone-faced individuals that commanded such incredible respect and effort? The most widely accepted theory is that they are portraits of powerful Olmec rulers. Kings, chieftains, leaders with immense authority. Each head, with its unique face and distinct headdress, could be a monument to a specific king, a way to immortalize his power and legacy. Think of them as the Mount Rushmore of ancient Mexico, celebrating the nation's great leaders. This makes sense. Only a king could command the resources needed to create and transport such a monument. But there are other intriguing theories. One popular idea is that they represent famous ball players. This theory comes from the distinctive headgear they all wear. They look a lot like the protective helmets worn by players in the brutal Mesoamerican ballgame. In Olmec society, top athletes were superstars, revered figures with high social status. It's possible that the most legendary players were immortalized in stone, their helmets proudly displayed as a symbol of their skill and fame. It's like building a 20-ton statue of Michael Jordan or Lionel Messi. Another theory suggests they could be related to ancestor worship. Perhaps these aren't rulers or athletes at all, but deified ancestors. In many ancient cultures, powerful ancestors were believed to watch over and protect the living. Placing these giant heads at the center of their cities could have been a way to keep these powerful ancestral spirits present, guarding the community and ensuring its prosperity. They would have been focal points for rituals and ceremonies, conduits between the world of the living and the realm of the spirits. And what makes this all so fascinating are the features themselves. The artists who carved them were going for realism. They have broad noses, full lips, and slightly crossed, almond-shaped eyes. These specific and consistently rendered features have led to all sorts of fringe theories, including claims of contact with ancient African civilizations. While these ideas are not supported by mainstream archaeology, they highlight just how striking and unique the faces are. They don't look like generic representations, feel like portraits of real people who lived and breathed thousands of years ago. Let's talk more about those helmets. Each head has a unique headdress. Some are simple, like a plain cap. Others are incredibly ornate, decorated with jaguar paws, eagle talons, or abstract symbols. These weren't just for decoration. Archaeologists believe these helmets were symbols of identity, status, and power. Just like a crown signifies a king, these headdresses likely signified the individual's name, lineage, or major achievements. They were a visual language, telling a story about the person depicted. Decoding these helmets is one of the keys to understanding who these individuals were. The heads are primarily found at two major Olmec centers, San Lorenzo and La Venta, the oldest heads. Found at San Lorenzo date back to around 1200 BC, they have a certain style, often appearing more naturalistic. The heads found at La Venta, a later Olmec capital, are slightly different. Some scholars see a stylistic evolution, perhaps a change in the political or religious ideology being expressed. Interestingly, many of the heads show signs of deliberate mutilation. Faces were defaced, chunks were broken off. This wasn't random vandalism. It was likely a ritual act. Perhaps when a ruler died, his monument was ritually killed to neutralize his power. Or maybe it was done by a new ruler, a way of rewriting history and erasing the legacy of a predecessor. This leads us to the final, and perhaps biggest mystery of all. What happened to the Olmecs? Around 400 BC, their great civilization began to decline. Their major cities, like La Venta, were systematically abandoned, and their culture seemed to just fade away. The jungles slowly reclaimed their pyramids and plazas, burying their world for over 2,000 years. Why did they leave? Was it climate change? Volcanic eruptions? Internal warfare? Did they simply exhaust the resources of the region? We don't have a definitive answer. The Olmecs disappeared, leaving behind these colossal heads as their most enduring and most enigmatic legacy. In the end, these stone giants are more than just archaeological artifacts. They are the silent guardians of a lost world. Each face, carved with such care and effort, holds a story we may never fully know. They are portraits of kings, athletes, or ancestors from a civilization that rose, flourished, and vanished long before the Romans built their empire. They stare out at us from across the millennia, their expressions unreadable, their secrets locked away in stone. They remind us that history is full of unanswered questions, and that some of the greatest stories are the ones we have to piece together, one giant, mysterious head at a time. Thanks for watching.